We have implemented AI at the handyman company, and we called her Tina. So Tina talks to a customer through chat, right? And so chats back and forth with Tina. And with AI, one of the things I'm seeing is that AI does a little over explaining, a little over empathy. And so Kirk, my general manager,
Are you saying you want your computer to have less empathy?
I do. I love that. I did. In fact, I told him, I'm like, dude, this is like, oh, I hate to hear this. I said, we don't need to say that.
Have you taught AI to say you're dead to me?
Actually, I'm working on a couple of things, and he's like, no, I can't do that. I said, are you sure? How about you go dig a hole, jump in it, and put the kids in? So believe it or not, before I left today, I was talking about AI and how it's helped us in our business. I have 3 ladies who answer our phones, and they said, are we going to lose our jobs? This was a week ago. I said, no, but that 4th lady we were going to hire, she's not going to be here. That's right. Tina. I said, you guys got to look to work with Tina. I'm walking out today, and one of the ladies goes, believe it or not, I just got a call from a guy who said, hey, I'd like to talk to Tina. I was
no, you did not.
It's that good. It's dialed in. It's good. And so it really is helping. So that's a little step for a handyman company, right? This was after hours, but now, because people say, you need an after-hour call center. In fact, one of my other buddies swears by after-hours call center, and we got into a knockdown drag. I'm like, no. I said, that call center's dead. I said, because I'm answering calls overnight. People call overnight in my business and don't expect to get anybody. In fact, a lot of people right now don't want to talk to anybody.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
We've got to get out of this green room. You know, we always leave the good stuff in the green room. I can't believe what we just
because I just love to chat, and you're the one who's
chitty chat,
wise old owl that says, "Hey, maybe we should actually record this."
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
So I just want to be like you someday.
Yeah. So we don't have just one guest today. We have 2, and they're in Zoom, but they're gonna have to hang on a minute because we got to talk about
you,
right? Because whose podcast is this? That's right.
It's yours.
No, but this is for everybody. I do it for the people, Alan. I'm a man of the
people.
You
are a benevolent dictator.
You know what? That brings up another story. So last week was the week of NARI, right? Everybody knows I'm the president of the local Atlanta chapter of NARI, but I'm also on the national board. And
you sound so humble when you say that.
You know,
you got the Pope hands.
I do, and I've got actually, I'm doing the Pope wave already. I got the wave going on. But I came in, and I told our executive director in Atlanta, I said, I think we should name the event the Southern Shootout. She goes, this is not a dictatorship. You have to put that up to vote. I said, I
didn't know that.
I said, okay, well, watch this. And I put on the whiteboard, Southern Shootout. I said, option B, option C. No, I filled them out eventually, but they were shit. And I was like, I've already picked Southern Shootout. How about that? No, we picked out some good ones, but so it's not a dictatorship, but let's continue on, please. So I went up to Chicago, met with our board in person for NARI, talking about the state of the union for remodeling and what we're doing.
Now, did they have to genuflect when you walked into the room?
Well, so I'm only on the board. We have a chairman, a president.
I thought you were the president. That's what you
No, in Atlanta I am, not the national. On the national, I'm just on the board. But since you brought that up,
like an Earl.
I guess you could say I'm like the Duke of Sandwich.
Okay.
Earl of Sandwich?
I got it now.
So
you're kind of a big deal, but not as big of a deal as you made it out to be.
They did bring it up. You can't talk about the board meeting because if I do, it would be in violation of our code of conduct and our confidentiality, my fiduciary responsibility for confidentiality.
Way to throw some big words around there.
They did, but they did say, Chris, since you know everything about marketing and you have your own podcast, what do you think? I'm just going to leave it there. So I was like, yes, I think we figured this out. So yes, guys, instead of looking at the chairman and the president, the guy's been doing this for 35 years and completely awesome remodeling groups. By the way, the power in that room was pretty awesome. Yeah, please look at Chris, who just has this little handyman company in Atlanta.
Oh, look at you.
All right. So had some fun, learned. I would tell you the one thing I'm learning, it is a really and we don't say the word weird market, but people are very uncertain. And everybody, as soon as I say the word uncertain, Dennis and Benny and Alan, I think everybody immediately goes to the political views you have and go, yes, the other side is uncertain. I'm here to tell you, I went out in a couple, and I've been listening to, now I've implemented Ride Buddy. So the guys record their conversations, and then they get to listen with me, because you got to be careful with confidentiality. I would tell you, it is, I don't care if you're a blue or a red. I don't care if you're an old boomer or a young 35 or 40 first-time homeowner. The sentiment's the same on uncertainty on all of these groups. It is not. You thought, yeah, you're right. You know, if I'm a Republican, yeah, those Dems, man, they're uncertain. Nope, it's everybody.
You just slid in that you implemented Ride Buddy, which is a really kind of nice name for something just totally draconian.
It is too.
Yeah.
So
You're just,
we have recording devices that I get the transcripts. I get to listen to their sales call without me being there and being weird, being the ride along guy, right? Being the second guy. And people want to look at you and like, well, who is he? Oh, he's just the owner. What does the customer want to do? Look at you and say, hey, what do you think? And so you completely just steamroll the sales guy. So I get to listen to them now and give them feedback. And so I've been able to listen. So I can sit down in 4 hours and I can listen to, I've been listening to 10, 20 calls every 4 hours and give these guys feedback on their sales process, what they're doing.
And I bet they love that.
They love my feedback, Alan. It's so funny. Just ask them. They will tell you with me in the room that they
We'll eventually bring you in. Just want you to know.
All right. So let's get this candle started. Come on, Alan, please. I mean, it's always got to be about. Let's do this.
I know.
Guys,
such a diva.
So I went on this incredible podcast by myself, and they told Alan right before. They go, no, yeah, he was bringing good stuff. Yeah, no, he was pretty straightforward. And Alan's like, who, what, do what? I'm like, yeah,
I've never seen you by yourself, Chris.
I know that's what happens when you left by myself. So Dennis Jackson, Benny Carreon, guys, why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast, but also what you guys do?
Benny, you want to go?
Wow, we have to follow this up, Dennis.
I know this is tough. This is tough one. These guys are good.
Hey guys, thanks for letting us come on the show. We really appreciate it.
Cheers.
This is fun. This is fun. Yeah. So I'm Benny Carreon. My partner is Dennis Jackson, and we host a podcast called WFH with two guys. And so Dennis and I have known each other for a couple decades, and over the pandemic, we just started. You know, I used to live in Nashville, where Dennis and I met. We no longer live there, but we kept in touch. And over the years, we just managed to just have these great conversations about what business was like. And I think it was Dennis actually who said, what we should do? We should be recording these conversations we're having. And why don't we put a podcast together? So I'm going to give credit to Dennis for this whole idea. And we just started doing that, and here we are 6 years later. And it's been a fun ride so far, but I have to say, our format and energy is a little bit different than you guys. So,
well, I think you guys been doing it for 6 years, so kudos to you.
You're saying he's more mature.
100%. Oh,
what does WFH mean? I know what WF means, but what's H?
I don't know. Let's ask.
So it stands for working from home with two guys.
Oh, I didn't get the WF
right. So it started back in, when the COVID.
We can workshop that for you if you'd like.
Exactly. And so we started out with just Benny and I. And then after, I don't know, Benny, 10 or 15 episodes, we're like, okay, what else are we going to talk about? And that's when we started having guests on. And a lot of it, we started it because both of us have small to mid-sized companies that we support. And a lot of them were asking questions about, tell me about marketing. How could I do HR? What could I do about legal? So we just started having guests on with some of those experiences and talking for 25 minutes about whatever it is. And hopefully then, our clients listen to it, but also then we pick up new listeners. And we started, like Benny said, 6 years ago, and now we're getting close to like 7,500 listeners. So we're growing, and it's fun.
Yeah.
So basically, Chris, you stole their idea.
If I would have known they were out there, I absolutely would have done what they did and then said I came up with it on my own. 100%. I mean, they're consulting now too. They know what it is. Copy with pride, baby. And I don't give any credit to anybody. And Alan will know that because
100%.
Thank you. So So yeah, WFH. That's funny because the first time they said, "Hey, you want to?" Usually, I think somebody connected us to say, "Chris, you ought to get on their show and you do a trade." And I think yes, I was like, "Yeah." I'm like WFH. I'm like perfect, and I was definitely not listening to it.
And being around you for all these years, I know what WF means.
Oh, and the H. I get that. Because I've done that too. I mean, I thought I was like, well, they probably made the T silent. And then it was like working from home. I'm like, oh, right.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So the podcasting is just a part-time job. Our real job. So I own a company called Work Solutions, and so we help companies with workflows. So they'll usually have some kind of operating system, some kind of accounting system. It's all that stuff in the middle that's on spreadsheets, sticky notes, in people's heads, folders that you have to touch 15 times. We automate that and make life easier for them without breaking the bank.
So he helps those guys take that one guy in the corner who's got the stapler and all the sticky notes and the tie that's shorter, and the skinny side fatter than the short. Think Office Space with me, Alan.
Oh yeah.
And he goes,
"Where's my piece of cake?"
He walks in and he goes, "I'm taking you out." "Where's my piece of cake?" "I'm taking you out, and you're gone. You're gone." So you're known as the Hatchet Man, Dennis. No, it's the nicer way.
Hopefully,
working from home, not what the hell.
And hopefully then we help people be more efficient. So our goal is to get people back 15 minutes a week per employee. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you have 10 employees, it's an hour and a half. And over the years, it adds.
And the name of your company again is?
Work Solution. So it's WRXsolution.com.
Yeah. Don't forget the X. That's right. And Benny, what do you do?
Yeah, so I own a technology consulting company. And so I've had it now for, I think it's 22 years. I think I was pretty new when I met Dennis to having my own company. And so, yeah, we'll go back, I said, a couple decades, but we help companies with whatever technology implementation they're looking to. They need some help with their technology stack. They need to have some type of strategy put in place. That's what we do. We put together, we help them find the best technologies and help them plan a little bit better for whatever technology that they might be thinking about implementing for the companies.
It's a good thing technology hasn't changed much in 22 years.
Yeah, right? I mean, come on. Boring technology. Oh, whatever. I know. I mean, you read it once and you're kind of over it,
Okay. You've got AI. You've got AI now to solve everything.
Well, and I give Benny credit for AI because 3 years ago he started talking about AI, and I had no clue what AI was. And then all of a sudden we start talking about it on the podcast, and then all of a sudden it's on news. I'm like, okay, Benny is the one that created AI that we all just give him credit for.
There it is. Benny created AI, just like Al Gore created the internet.
That's right. Exactly.
Now we got Benny. Oh my God!
Break that story.
Oh, I think we just did. I think we got the podcast title already figured out. Huh? The inventor of AI.
All right. So Benny, you don't know my cousin Brad, but he called me the other day and he's like, "What do you think about the people that say AI is going to take away so many jobs that we're going to have to go to universal basic income?"
Do you have what it takes to start your own business? Are you tired of the 9-to-5 corporate job and ready to make that leap into entrepreneurship? Then you need to check out From the Zoo to the Wild, the new book by successful entrepreneur Chris Lalamia. This book is a unique perspective on the journey into the wild world of home services and delivering excellence in service while working in customers' homes. Lalamia shares his path to success in this industry, including proven customer relationship strategies, award-winning customer experience processes, and a unique approach to training a team of service technicians to perform at the highest levels. Whether you're a small business trying to scale or a franchise operation, From the Zoo to the Wild will give you the mindset, habits, leadership style, and customer-oriented processes to succeed as a small business owner in the home services space. So if you're ready to take control of your future, get your copy of From the Zoo to the Wild today, available on Amazon.
It's funny. I get asked this question.
That's not funny. That's not funny.
No, it's
frightening. So just so you know, I'm like terrified of AI, and Chris is a total adopter.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I'm like, you slow your roll there, chicken little. Let him answer.
I just went to I went to our question after all the hijinks, didn't I?
You did. You went right to it. All right.
Yeah.
Right into the jugular. Go, Benny. I dare you to answer that.
Yeah. Make me not kill myself.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to kill yourself. No. The truth of it is, it's funny because
All right, I'll be right back. Maybe not.
yeah, I'm this in this world, and I'm not going to lay claim to being the AI expert of all. I mean, there's some folks out there that I talk to that they understand AI far deeper than I'll ever understand, and they understand algorithms and they understand all the other aspects, actually how to train AI. But what I will say, and for the people that I've talked to and the experts that I've interviewed and had conversations with, AI is fundamentally changing literally every aspect, every job, every person in the world is going to be touched by AI in some capacity. Even that Amish farmer in the middle of Pennsylvania, you won't think that he is going to be affected by it, but he certainly will be. And that sounds scary, and it sounds like it's Orwellian. But the truth of it is, there's so much that's going to be going along, and that life is fundamentally changing. Listen, Dennis and I talked about this. I've got a 20-year-old in college right now, and he'll be graduating in a year and a half. And I am scared to death about what is he going to do when he gets out of college. He's studying computer programming, right? And so he'd love to get a job in that space. But what I'll say is that, is it fundamentally affecting that world? Well, what they'll tell you is this: if you go look at programmers, typically what's happening is you have senior developers and then you have junior developers, right? And so in the world that he wants to go into, you have a senior dev who is in charge of this big segment of the program. And then he has the junior developers that kind of work on parts of that bigger piece, right? And so what the companies are telling people now is that, okay, senior devs, great, we still need you. But instead of hiring these extra junior developers, have AI do that job for you. We haven't eliminated a job, but we're not going to hire somebody in that place. So the problem is you're having all of these entry-level jobs that are being pushed to the side, and they're saying, okay, we're going to hire senior developers, but the junior development work is going to go to AI. Where in time, we go 10 years from now, where are the junior developers who turn into senior developers going to get that experience, right? And so the world is changing, and so what does that mean? I think a lot of what's going to happen is our traditional design of what a job looks like is completely different. We've gotten a taste of it, and you guys have been familiar with like the gig economy, right? And how workers do things differently today, and they don't necessarily need to have one job. Well, that's going to be somewhat similar, I think, when it comes to AI. I think a lot of people, especially if you want to have a job in a specific industry, well, you might have to literally start your own company, or you have to develop a piece of software, or you have to do something using AI to help get you noticed, to be able to get some of these gigs and to be able to get that. Because there's going to be a lot of contract work that's going to be evolved from it. So it'll be interesting to see what 5, 10.
And Alan, and I'm more on your side. So I always challenge back is you still have to have humans involved. They still have to review it, analyze it. That's where it does change. So instead of just being a task worker, you'll probably have to have the knowledge base to kind of understand things or ask questions. And like on my emails, I'll put on there at the very bottom that most of this email may have been written by AI, but it's 100% reviewed by a human being. So
damn right,
good. I love that.
And I mean, the freaking Amish, the AI is not going to churn their butter. It's not going to make. It's not going to make the chess pie. It's not going to raise the barn.
Right. And
okay,
Chris, in your world,
I'm putting Alan back in. I'm going to put Alec back in timeout. He's actually in a fetal position right now. Benny, you did not help.
You saw me slip my wrist.
Well,
but
okay.
I'm back for just one last gasp.
So
you're good.
Let me actually. I'll give you this, okay? And so I was listening to an interview the other day from an expert, and they were talking about, like, we know fundamentally AI is going to change the way things are being done. Absolutely know that. But are there certain industries, or are there certain professions that are absolutely safe from AI? So here, let me give you some reassurance, because I completely agree with this thought here. There are 3 categories where AI really cannot take over the place. Now, this may not be your industry, but at least kind of give you some thoughts behind it. The first one was caretaking, right? In terms of like caretaking, whether it be somebody who needs some help, elderly person, maybe a child with disability. Number 2, therapy, being able to have. No one wants to get therapy from AI. No one wants to be able to get any advice from AI. It's not going to fly. And number three is like spiritual leaders, right? So your pastor, anybody from religious, you're not going to be able to get comfort or really, they need people to have that human aspect. So I think that's really just kind of a fundamental aspect about, what it's going to be now for your job and what we do in profession. Like, look at Chris's job in the handyman space. You think AI is really going to come over and take that?
100%.
No, God, no.
No way.
Stop that, Alan. Alan just got muted again. Sorry, Alan.
They're going to answer the phone. They're going to do the estimates. They're going to follow up.
Yes. But they're not going to do the drywall. They're not going to hang your door. They're not going to.
You don't think I can make a robot that can do drywall better than you?
Well,
no. I've seen them. I've actually seen them.
Busted toolbox.
No.
Well,
I'm winning.
That's the thing. You think about what I was just saying in terms of like the caretakers of therapy and the spiritual leaders. They're going to use AI to do some of the things like the administrative work, all that paperwork. You're going to have somebody who I'm going to take the raw estimates. I'm going to go out, be able to take pictures of the job site that you're going to work on, feed that in AI and use that as a tool, as a mechanism to help you get better quotes, be able to maybe point out some things that you're not thinking about. Those are things that I think AI is going to help us. But to Chris's point, you're not going to be able to have somebody come out there and, you're hearing things like, Elon Musk and the robots that they're manufacturing. Well, I think we're still way away from that. Now, we're being recorded, so, maybe I'll be proven wrong on that. But there's a ways away.
Make a note. We're going to check this. We're going to check this.
Benny, check this out. Alan's taking receipts right now. Yeah, look out.
Right. Well, I mean, it's going to be a while before someone feels comfortable letting unsupervised robot come into their house to just do whatever. I'm going to feel good with a licensed handyman, somebody who comes in who I trust, who's gotten good referrals. Oh yeah, he did a great job on my bathroom. Yeah, you can come over and help you out on the kitchen repair. Absolutely, I trust those guys. But yeah,
but it will. I mean, think back. 40 years ago, we didn't have computers really. I mean, I remember still doing hand calculations and all that stuff and spreadsheets on pieces of paper and all that. And then when I went through college, you put all the cards in an order and ran them to somebody and they ran them through a machine and you hoped it gave you the right output. It evolves. And people begin to evolve. And that's the best part about it. It'll free people up to do more productive things. And Alan, to your point, it probably will. That's why we like the working from home model, because it's going to probably allow you to do some different things that you're not going to work that 8 to 5 Monday through Friday at some point in the future. Things will definitely evolve and change as AI kicks in. And I just got back from Hawaii, so I know where to go. Go to Hawaii. It was awesome over there. So,
look at that! Now that's how he gets his personal
name dropper.
Because I know that was huge. You know what? I jelly
kind of slid that in.
Damn it!
Slid that in.
And he's so for those of us, you guys all know we're in the northern suburbs of Atlanta. He is in Noonan, which is not a suburb of Atlanta.
He's not Hawaii.
It is definitely not Hawaii. Yeah. And anybody who says, I'm sure he's had to do this, he probably says, oh yeah, I live in Atlanta. But he's going to find out very quickly because he just moved to Noonan that Noonan wants nothing to do with Atlanta because of the traffic.
I know. Someone they said, yeah, we're a suburb of LaGrange. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Okay, exactly right. Yeah, I don't want to do it. No, I think Benny, those are great points because I was on an advertising webinar and a lady put this out there and said AI is like a 5-year-old smart toddler. You still have to give it direction and you still have to check that it's going the right way. And if you let it go for too long, it might do something stupid. And I was like, okay, all right, I feel good with that. And I didn't want to ask this question.
When that toddler gets a knife or a gun, then you got to be in trouble.
Yeah, you better run. Because you won't have to slit your own wrist. You'll just
it's going to come after me. Alan, you're no longer useful.
Yeah, I the thing you said, Benny, that I thought was very interesting. I'll tell you where I went. Again, frame of reference was your son is coming out of school. I remember hearing about the first computer programmers getting a computer programming 4-year degree was in the 70s. Yep. And you're like, man, they're on the forefront. They are. I mean, oh my God, that's cutting edge. And when I had a chance to do anything with computers, I said, no, I'm gonna stay with just machining. Idiot, but that's a different story. But I think about him coming out now, and
it's a good thing that their first aren't going to be AI.
Yeah,
for you.
I still got that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm still running my own. I'm still running my own deck of cards into the computer to have an output. That's so funny. When Dennis said that, I know it. I know he's had it. We've all had that plastic box of all the cards, and you watch that one kid stumble, fall, drop them all because he didn't have the box and he didn't have them numbered, and you would see him just like weep in tears and just fall into a puddle.
Yep.
I'm laughing only because it wasn't me. So Benny, I'm worried about that age, what you're talking about. But what I was going with was if he doesn't have a chance to learn what a senior developer does, how does he learn that? And like you say, he's got to gig his way up to get there. And now you're going to have that drain 10 years from now. Who's going to be the architect? Who's going to be the overseer? And here again, my frame of reference was I would tell you. We just left another call, Al and I, with the local chamber. I'm seeing more and more kids opt for the trades, welding, electrical, plumbing. It's becoming a more certain one that they know that they can touch and feel. So I'm worried for your son too on that. I'm worried for the brain drain that happens. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I think, as an organization, that company's got to be thinking of that. If you're just saying, hey, I want to introduce AI as my cost-cutting mechanism, it's a short-term solution that you're going to get some cost savings for a little bit. But at some point, you hit that point where you don't have the people to oversee it, and you end up with that 5-year-old toddler doing work part of the time, but it screws up many times, and then your company's not successful. So, as an owner of a company or a manager, you've got to have a broader vision of what's going to happen. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to release all these people," and you've got to figure out how do you develop people. I heard today Amazon, I think it is going to roll out robots to all their warehouses. Well, they're not. They say they're not going to lay off anybody. It's just they said their point was they're having a hard time finding enough good people that the robots will then be able to keep and grow because they're going to grow. It was like 30% in the next 5 years. So they needed all these other people that they just can't get that are qualified, and so the robots will fill that. But you've still got to make sure you're working your talent in there to run this stuff or develop it or oversee it. Otherwise, you end up with a bunch of robots that do stuff that screws up.
So with everything you guys are doing as you touch all your clients, obviously it's becoming more ubiquitous. We're going to talk about AI and Dennis, when you design processes, you're thinking about how AI can help. And Benny, your guys are coming at you with on the forefront of technology. Who's doing it right? I mean, who is, give me some examples of somebody just like, man, this person figured this out quick.
They're nailing it. They got it down. Well, the good news, I think, is nobody's doing it right. I mean, and it's funny. I've been doing this for 30 years, right? I've been in the technology consulting space for 30 years. And it's funny, you think about the adoption of, going way, way back, right? I still remember times before the internet was in the home. And I tell my son about that. And I say, I'm older than Google. And he thinks, oh my gosh, how old are you, right? But
well, you could be like Alan, you're older than electricity.
I still don't think that'll take.
Okay, I know it. It's a fad. It's a fad.
It's a fad. Well, I mean,
it kills people.
That's right. That's right. I heard it kills elephant. Edison proved that.
That's right.
But if you think about the adoption of the internet, and then you fast forward in terms of like computers, and then we look at the adoption of like smartphones and then social media, all of that, everything has adopted quicker. AI got to like 1 million users, like literally in a day, right? So when ChatGPT came out in November of 2022, they literally had 1 million signups within like that first week or so. And so this is an industry that right now, literally, if you were to really kind of dig down deep into it, literally AI is changing every single day. There's a new model that's rolling out. There's a new use for it. There's a new hallucination, right? There's something going on that's either positive or negative. And so the funny thing is that you see so many competitors in this space that are changing the industry. Nobody's doing it right. To go back to your question, it's like I'm seeing some people who are doing some really interesting things, and you can take a look at the big companies, and if you've gone to Amazon, you've probably seen Rufus. Are you familiar with Rufus on Amazon?
No.
So if you go to Amazon nowadays, and anybody who's listening to this, you can see Rufus, who is an AI companion when you go shopping, and you can ask it questions about this particular model of whatever. And does Amazon have any other, or does this will this work internationally? Or you can ask it any question, and it can look, it's not perfect, and it'll do that. And you see these implementations now, like for instance with Microsoft. Microsoft has Copilot everything. It's incorporated into the Office 365 and all of those elements in there. And so you could say that and say, are those things great? Well, no, you're seeing things. Do you guys remember when Microsoft came out with their first chat bot? This is before 2022 when OpenAI came out. Do you remember when they rolled it out well, they rolled it out and it started, you just chat back and forth with it. And suddenly it took this bent where it starts doing all of this racist and white supremacist stuff.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
Right. So
tell us more.
Yeah. Well, Microsoft is one of the biggest investors in OpenAI, right? And so they knew they couldn't get it right. And there have been a lot of stumbles. Google came out and they when OpenAI came out, they weren't ready. And so they've kind of fumbled. But I'll tell you right now, Google is making some amazing things. And I was listening to this story about this company that is in Niceville, Florida, if I'm remembering this correctly. And I think it is an HVAC company. It's a small town. I'm not sure if you guys know where Niceville is, but I'm from Florida, or I lived in Florida for a while. And so I know that area. We had a lot of football players from my football team that were there. But they implemented AI really heavily into their business. And so what does that do? When they go and they do an estimate over at a house, they're using AI to make recommendations on the type of AC unit that should be in place. The specific problems with this is a condo and it's built in 1937 or whatever it happens to be. And listen, there's no replacing the experience that person, that technician has there. But what this can do is it can shortcut and reference little bits and pieces, nuanced items that they may have forgotten. There's a recall on this particular AC unit, or this particular device doesn't work anymore. These are all the things that the AI can actually help and is recognizing, and it has increased the amount of business. And also they're using it within their marketing. So it's a company that I can't even remember the name of it, but I'll tell you, when I heard about the implementation they're doing, I thought this is exactly like those type of clients are my type of clients. And that's the ones that, they get it and they understand they're implementing it. And so this is what we're starting to see.
And actually, I think smaller companies are going to be more effective with it than large companies, because large companies have to go through testing and all this stuff, where small companies can test it, try it, move quick, adapt, adjust. I've got one where they carry inventory and it's really seasonal. There's all kinds of weird stuff that they have to take into consideration. And the person that was doing it was 70 years old. And so a lot of it was in her brain. And so we built AI into it. And so it knows to look at what the forecast of the weather is, what celebrations are coming up, because it's all seasonal type of stuff. And so it came back the other day saying, hey, 2026 is the bicentennial year. You really should be focused on red, white, and blue. And sure enough, if you watched, Disney World came out the other day, starting Veterans Day, everything's going to be red, white, and blue at Disney. And it's all this stuff. And so they were a small company. They would probably have caught on to it way into the event. Now they're seeing this stuff 6 months to a year ahead to be able to plan and kind of think through it. They don't let AI make the final decision. A human still looks at the recommendations and signs off on it, but it just allows them to carry inventory that based on what people may need. So those are unique. Personally, I'm in the process of buying a new car. I went to chat last night and said, hey, I want to look 100 miles around Atlanta for this certain car that my wife wants in a certain color that they swear there wasn't any. It came back, gave me all these different things and what was out there, set up the phone call. And when I got up at 9 o'clock, it had the call set up and I've already found the car and found that. I said, hey, I'll buy new or used. Tell me the benefits and all this stuff. And it came back with all this information that I would never have known this without Benny's guidance, that I'm actually going to save about $15,000 on a car.
Dude, what? Yeah. Wow. Because Benny, you just earned 15 grand. I love this because
you're welcome.
So they didn't do like a 3D printer. Are you sure? Is this like a Matchbox car? Are you sure about this? Is this a real car?
It's actually it's up your way. I found it. So it's a company where they buy used cars, and this one has 3,200 miles on it.
Well, Alan's happy to drive the Lambo down to you if you want. He'd love to.
I don't fit in a Lambo, but
I wouldn't either. I'm 6'7", so I wouldn't fit in it.
She's all this guest in 4 years.
God, I love this. Yeah, Alan, you're what, 6'6", 6'7"?
I was.
Well, you're sure.
I'm sure you-
I used to be 6'7". I'm probably about 6'5" now. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is awesome. You know,
yeah.
you guys
Those
talked
are-
about that. That's amazing.
Those are fun things to use it. That, you know, again, I didn't used to do anything with it. Benny turned me on to it, and it's like, it's fun to get on there and just ask it things.
Now, are you using it with what you do though, with the process improvement?
We'll introduce it periodically based on what they're doing. You know, if you read the definition of AI, it's automation of a process, and so we have a tool. Typically, workflow, we're automating some process because it's usually so. I always say we were kind of the very simplistic AI. We've introduced more complicated AI into it to do different things. We're doing a lot with marketing where, you know, it's companies that have inbound phone calls, and Benny hit it on the head, that we'll use a chat, and it'll do a bot. It'll chat with people, and it'll recognize what they need. And at that point, it'll turn it over to a live person. Because a lot of times my clients aren't open 24/7. Well, this allows them to be open 24/7. And, you know, at least get enough information or carry on the conversation. And then it flows it into workflows that either, you know, sends it to MailChimp or whatever it is going to do, whatever their process is to help automate those steps that used to be a human, that nobody liked doing that stuff anyhow. And they couldn't find people to do it. And if they did do it, they half-assed it. So now that stuff gets done, but then there's a human that gets involved at some point in time.
We have implemented AI at the handyman company, and we called her Tina. So Tina talks to a customer through chat, right? And so chats back and forth with Tina. And with AI, one of the things I'm seeing is that AI does a little over explaining, a little over empathy. And so Kirk, my general manager,
Are you saying you want your computer to have less empathy?
I do. You love that. I do. In fact, I told him, I'm like, dude, this is like, oh, I hate to hear this. I said, we don't need to say that.
Have you taught AI to say you're dead to me?
Actually, I'm working on a couple of things, and he's like, no, I can't do that. I said, are you sure? How about you go dig a hole, jump in it, and put the kids in? So believe it or not, before I left today, I was talking about AI and how it's helped us in our business. I have 3 ladies who answer our phones, and they said, are we going to lose our jobs? This was a week ago. I said, no, but that 4th lady we were going to hire, she's not going to be here. That's right. Tina. I said, you guys got to learn to work with Tina. I'm walking out today, and one of the ladies goes, believe it or not, I just got a call from a guy who said, hey, I'd like to talk to Tina. I was
no, you did not.
It's that good. It's dialed in. It's good. And so it really is helping. So that's a little step for a handyman company, right? This was after hours, but now, because people say, you need an after hour call center. In fact, one of my other buddies swears by after hours call center, and we got into a knockdown drag. I'm like, no. I said, that call center's dead. I said, because I'm answering calls overnight. People call overnight in my business and don't expect to get anybody. In fact, a lot of people right now don't want to talk to anybody. They'd rather do the chat back and forth, right?
They'd rather chat, or because they don't want, you know, no offense, but they don't want to get someone offshore that doesn't really speak English well. They would rather chat with it, knowing that in the morning you're going to call them back with the details and carry on a real conversation.
That's an interesting turn.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys, all of you, Dennis, you guys, and you know, in terms of like what you were talking about, and Alan, I know you were concerned about job loss. So let me give you an example. I mean, and this goes exactly with what we're talking about. One of the big areas that I work with is contact centers, right? So we have a lot of the old call centers and contact centers. Today it's kind of shifted and migrated because we call them contact centers now, because it's more than just voice. To your point. Especially millennials, they don't like to talk to people. They just want to text. They want to be able to do, you know, just do everything on the phone or through an app. And so I don't know if you are aware of this or not, but call center agents, the attrition rate is 60% a year, right? So if you have 100 people in your call center, 60 of them would be gone by the end of the year. And it just keeps going over. We had a client that their attrition rate was 140% a year.
Oh, good God. Wow.
So they're spending tons of money on training and hiring and all that stuff.
They're
buying them lunches, and the ingrate leaves the next day.
That's right.
Not mad, but give them a great big tool and they quit the next day. Bastard. Yep. I mean, I hypothetically, of course, right? Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring Alan's issues in. Oh, that was me.
Well, what we're seeing,
you are a great big tool.
I too.
Well, it's the right profession.
I am. Thank you. I am the right tool for this industry. I can promise you.
If you have AI come in and take those jobs, like think about this call center that you would have, and somebody who's answering the same question literally 30 times a day. What time are you guys open till? Does it come in blue? Do you have this in stock? Blah, 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 whatever it happens to be. Well, those are the type of questions that AI can easily and eagerly answer, right? So if you have a call center that has, let's call it 500 agents working at any given time, right? And we know that a certain percentage of those calls are going to be same repetitious calls every single time. Then what you could do is you can create specialists. And this is what we're doing is like you have people who need to have that final question. Let's say an insurance company client of mine, as an example, they would do everything from reporting an accident to, I just added this car and I need them put in there. I need to put into my policy, right? But what about this strange one here? Is this particular windshield going to be OEM, and is this an approved vendor? Well, you need to talk to a human being for that. I'd rather have instead of having 500 agents, maybe have 100 agents that are specialists and are trained in those segments. And so they can have AI filter out all the garbage questions because they're still going to come in, whether it comes in from text or if it's coming in voice. And then you have these specialists. Now you can build a career around that. Sure, you're going to have some people who it's going to be asking the ridiculous questions and all that, but at least you're not getting those monotonous, repetitious calls all the time. And in fact, with my client who had that 140% turnover rate is down to about 50%. So it's still high in terms of the attrition rate.
Yeah, but not in that industry. I mean,
you can't fire people if they're not there.
Well, yeah, but think about this. But now the people who are there are feeling more valuable. Right? These people are, instead of answering that same monotonous question, do you have this in blue? Do you have, okay, yeah.
Well, they get paid
more. Well, no
now,
shit.
too.
The blue is one, and they get paid more.
Yeah.
And then they get the hard question, and they get the upsell opportunity, and they get the opportunity for the customer to go, man, thank you so much. You've really helped me. And you go, you know what? I really did on this one, as opposed to, no, thank you. No, thank you. Hey, are you open yet? No. That's why I'm talking to you, moron.
Are we talking too much about AI? Should we?
I don't know.
Guys, are we talking too much about AI?
I tell you what, I think
you want
Your
to
show.
dude. Benny the Jet here has taken off because, dude, all we did was give him like this much information. We went nuts. And Dennis is like, hey, Benny, Benny, hold on, Dennis, we'll get back to you. All right, holster that sidearm there, Hawaii. We're going back to Betty.
Nah, Dennis, I feel you because it's like being with Chris. Every once in a while, lets me talk.
Okay, that's enough.
I'm just Benny's sidekick.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we're just little moons in their orbit.
That's
right.
It's funny whenever if I'm giving a talk or if I'm on a podcast or if I'm even just talking and if eventually the conversation evolves into AI, and without a doubt I was supposed to talk 10 minutes on this topic for a talk, and I talked an hour and a half. And I said, you guys, we can move on if you want. No, we want to know more. We have some questions for you.
I would say that you're right. I think all of this is germane to the audience. I would tell you that I do hate it when people talk about AI and get all scared like Alan. And next thing I know, I'm putting him in a blanket, shivering things and giving him ice cubes because his mouth is starting to quiver. So that's all right, Alan. You'll be fine.
I do appreciate it when you do that.
It is. It's part of the conversation. A lot of people, we're all struggling with it. You guys said it. I agree with you. I think small businesses, you got to adopt. And here's the thing, and that's why I always ask, especially when people kind of come on condescendingly and say, well, I'm in the AI space. I'm like, all right, tell me one thing I can do to implement my company right now. And if you can't, then I don't think you really understand it. And this is my SEO test. I used to do that with SEO. They always came in and said, oh, SEO. Well, what's it stand for? Well, I can't tell you that. You're like, well, I do it. Like, so how do you implement it? Oh, I can't tell you that either. You just have to sign up with me. I'm like, all right, man, if you can't explain it to me where I can understand it, I don't think you really understand the subject.
They knew you were going to steal it from them.
Well, of course I am.
Yeah.
Well, that's
they
no,
did that.
But Benny, I mean, he hits you, right? He clearly understands what it's doing and how it's impacting things. Dennis gave us another one talking about how he's implementing it, and it's part of the conversation of everybody he's changing processes for. He's definitely taking the guy out looking for the cake in the stapler, though. He's gone.
So, Alan, I want to tell you that I think that, listen, you're not the only one that I've talked to that is afraid of AI. And really, truthfully, rightly so, right? We've all seen the movies growing up. You can go and see about the robots that attacked, as far back before we were born, right? But the whole idea about
War of the Worlds,
Terminator.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
iRobot,
Terminator.
Think about
W3,
you guys got. Is this a movie podcast? I can't remember.
Hey, does that bump us up in genre? Let's go true crime. Because true crime,
We were
taking off.
niche sex a couple of weeks ago.
We were, for one episode, we niched up high.
Well, Chris turned off the heat because he had contractors in his house, which I still don't understand why he did that, but it did make me want to take my clothes off.
Hey, you're working for LFA? That's what happened. All right.
That's right. You do a good job. Maybe I turn it down a degree.
It's incentives, guys. Huh? There's carrots and sticks. Welcome to my world. Which is why.
Some Pavlovians.
Player of the year right here. You know what? I'm always in the running on. It's usually I got kicked out of. Let's see, Dad of the Year January 2nd, and Player of the Year probably usually January 3rd.
It's awards I'm not going to get season.
Best place to work awards January 5. Shit.
Dennis,
I need more AI.
Dennis, what'd you get me into?
Dennis is it's like, I'm glad I'm not saying anything right now.
This is the worst podcast ever. These guys are like,
I'm just tagging along today.
Please. Yeah. Hey, is this podcast over yet? No, stay here, everybody. You can't leave. Dennis, hold on. We're coming back to you. Next caller.
So I'll just finish this for you, Alan. Alan, so I think
Thank you.
Just to kind of tie this up for you, I think that sure we need to approach AI carefully, right? And the part that we can do, what we can control, use it for your business, use it for your personal life. Anything from planning a vacation to helping you think out what your next business strategy move should be. Those are things that are usable. But for the folks that are out there and doing things that we can't control, it's always been that way, right? There's always been somebody who's a pulse away from pushing the nuclear button. There's always been somebody out there who could, when farming equipment was manual, right, and we came out with the motorized tractor, that was considered. We're not going to do that. Those are the type of things that you'll never replace the human being. The thing about it is that there's opportunities in everything that we do, and even for my son, I don't know how it's going to look when he graduates, but I feel confident that there's going to be an opportunity out there that hopefully AI can actually leverage him into. And so what I will say is this, is that just spoonful at a time. Right now, it is, we say drinking from a fire hose, it's Niagara Falls. It isn't a fire hose, right? So you can get overwhelmed and you can go into the fetal position and crawl underneath your bed. But I feel that there's a really good opportunity out there for it. And I think if you just kind of play around with it a little bit, you'll be all right.
So good news is I'm not under my bed, but I am going fetal, and I usually go on my couch.
There you go.
So I'm halfway there. Thank you, Benny. I feel like this is good therapy.
I think you got more nervous on this episode than you have been before.
Actually, I'm getting more. There's a couple things you guys have said that you're right. The more the future continues, the more the past shows itself. Because you said something.
Did you just try to quote somebody?
No, that's me, baby.
That's you.
That was deep. That was deep.
What? Oh, you know what? Cindy, mark that down. Put that on there. And see if I can't quote it.
Let's use the future continues, the more the past reveals itself.
It does. And I'll tell you, here's a great example. When I was in college, going to engineering school, very proud of the fact that I never took one business class. I took one business class, Econ 101. I took history of technology, and they talked about as technology evolved, what they said was the advent of the washing machine was going to eliminate washing jobs. What do? We started washing our clothes more. The advent of the dishwasher was going to kill the dishwasher jobs in restaurants. What do? We wash more dishes. Mm-hmm. So it just leverages people. And so it didn't kill. It actually had people doing more work. Mm-hmm. So the more we invented, more mom had to work. Just for the record, I will say this, though. My mom and dad bought a dishwasher the day after I went to college, and my younger brother, who's 5 years younger than me, didn't wash a flipping dish and threw it in his entire 4 years.
But you're not bitter about that.
I'm definitely not bitter. But when that history lesson came back, I came back with the book. I'm doing this. I'm shaking it at my mom. I'm like, Ma, huh? How come I had to wash all the flipping dishes?
Do I need to set another appointment with your therapist?
Probably,
which is not AI.
I have mommy issues. All right.
We could probably train AI to deal with you.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. All right, Dennis, you were going to say something. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No. I'm good. I'm just listening. This is fun. You guys are awesome.
He's like, no, please just
Get me out of here.
All right, guys. We'll grant you your wishes. We'll get you guys going. This, honestly, I think this has been awesome. I'd say, it's unlocked some things. Benny, you said something. If you've never tried AI today, just go sit there, go on to ChatGPT, get the free one, and try something for funsies just for once, right? If you're on Amazon shopping, I'm going to go try that Rufus thing and see what it does. Just try it. See what it does. Who knows, man? And then you start dipping your toe in, and the next thing you know, it's taking over the world, and we're trying to slit Alan's wrists with butter bites.
Can I stitch him back up? Benny brought me back.
I go.
And I already slit him. But
Okay, good. Well,
can I ask a really stupid question? It's really too late in the podcast to do this.
Yeah.
What's the difference between me Googling something and then me asking ChatGPT?
So if you think about the old days, and you still,
I got a good question out of it. Yes. Okay.
Late in the podcast, though, most people drop.
As a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
If this is actually good, Alan. If you go to Google today, it's very different.
Actually good.
No, but if you do it today,
Thanks for setting me up for nothing, Carlos.
That was good.
I think it's kind of dumb, but
I want to hear this one.
Hey, good job, Alan. Okay.
If you've Googled what's the weather forecast for Atlanta, or in the old days it would be they're going to take you to weather.com, and then you would click on weather.com and it would show you the actual website, and you look through that. Maybe that's a bad one because they were starting to put the weather forecast itself. Now AI is the very first response that is actually on the top of. If you go to Google and do it today, the first generated response is AI, and it gives you the answer directly. So if you want to say, what's the difference? What's the distance between Barcelona and Detroit? I'm curious. What is it? They would have had you going to a scientific calculator perhaps, and then you would put it in and you would have to figure out the answer. Now you go in, AI will give you the answer. They'll give it. Now, is there a danger to that? I think there is, right? When we were all kids, and this is something I heard from a comedian. I can't remember. I'd give the comedian credit, so I can't take credit for this. When we were all young and sitting around, maybe a campfire and having a good time, the question would come up, hey, was Tom Petty from Florida? And we would sit there and go, I don't know. I think so. And that was it, right? That was all we had.
Right.
The environment today, changed actually with the advent of the internet and certainly smartphones, to say, was Tom Petty from Florida? And someone would pull it up. Yeah, he was from Gainesville. He was from Gainesville, Florida. So now we know the answer right then and there. AI has actually upped that game one step farther, meaning now we don't even have to go and do even more research on more difficult questions. And here's the difficulty, and this is where we can stand ourselves out, is that don't lose that passion for the research, to go that one step farther. Don't rely on AI only. You got to make sure that AI is just a tool. AI is an assistant, and you need to take it one step farther. So keep that brain going. AI is not going to replace this.
Well, and Alan, give you kind of a firsthand experience. Benny and I had a guest that was supposed to be on our podcast. Unfortunately, he had to cancel, like 30 minutes before the podcast was coming up. So we went to AI and said, hey, here's a couple topics. Do an outline for us. And literally in 5 minutes, it had the outline put together. We said, hey, give it some pictures because we do video as well. And so it all put it together, and then we used that as a talking point. Now, as we looked at it, there were like 20 recommendations. There were 5 or 6 in there that we said, we're not talking about that. So we just took them out and had that presentation ready to go. And then we had our podcast pulled together, and then we brought it to life with the relationships and the human features of it. But it put it together that we didn't have to sit there and do all that research about. I think it's the one that actually our podcast that came out today, where we were talking about tariffs and inflation and what do you do with all that from a business standpoint. That was AI putting some recommendations together, and Benny and I putting our spin and our experiences and talking about it. And that was a fun one that we weren't planning to do that podcast, but we were forced to.
So you actually prepare for your podcast?
Alan, that's overrated. Let me just say this again. I'm going to get a little cut out of Alan, and I'm going to say, "Hey, Alan, what do you think of that?" And I'm going to push the button, and AI is going to go, "Hey," and he's going to say, "Your voice is sound just like you." "Hey, Chris, thanks for letting me talk." And I'm going to shut up, Alan. It's going to stop, and I'm going to. That's how I'm going to use AI, guys. This has been phenomenal. That is a great one that you guys just talked about. So, Dennis, why don't you tell us your company name, and then we'll head over with Benny.
Yeah. My company, it's Work Solutions, and it's Work Solution. It's WRXsolution.com.
Benny.
Yeah. And you can, my company name is called the Velocity Technology Group. That's velocitytechnology.group. And you can find both Dennis and me on LinkedIn. So reach us out there.
And the podcast. You got to talk about it.
WFH with two guys. And that one you can find on LinkedIn or Google it.
WFH.
WFH with two guys.
We know what that stands for.
I can workshop that.
It's not working from home.
No, it's not for this guy. All right, guys. Actually, thanks for coming on. This has been a blast. Thanks for hanging with me. This has been awesome.
You guys are
Alan,
great. Cheers.
This has been great. But before we do this, as the great Tom Petty said, I will not back down from using AI. Go out there, make it a great day. Get up that mountain, and let's go make some money.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Love it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day.